yesterday. This is what I was telling Reed yesterday. I keep forgetting that yesterday was Tuesday. We're already in Wednesday today. We're halfway there.
So this is Crane and Company on a Wednesday.
Thinking about
on a Tuesday.
Feeling like a Tuesday on a Wednesday.
I feel like I have a song for that.
I think you do. But also on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You got a song. You got a
It
song
doesn't matter.
You got a song for everything.
It doesn't matter. Yes, I do have a song for everything. It doesn't matter what day it is. We're going to bring the gas.
Like
You're like a walking iPod.
He's a hot torch.
Yeah, that's what you are.
You remember the iPods back in the day?
Dude.
iPod?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Used to be the
iPod?
That was the...
And you didn't have to carry around the entire CD collection
Now you got
anymore?
AirPods?
At first, I was upset. Someone got me an iPod first for Christmas, and I was like, I have all these CDs. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
But then it was super convenient.
See, I was like in the last generation of like CDs. Like when CDs were a thing.
And you took pride in that collection.
Without a doubt.
Mixtape?
Without a doubt.
This
Yeah,
is
if you
solid
didn't make
mixtape.
one mixtape, like if you didn't, like to a girl or something, like this back with like LimeWire, like I infected my computer so bad. Like I really think Julian Assange just got all that information from LimeWire. That'd have been the
Showing your age
easiest way.
there, guys.
Yeah, look, again, if
You didn't have a
exactly,
CD?
I remember LimeWire.
You either
I had a
exactly
CD
know what
player.
I'm
Justine, you didn't have CDs?
I did, but not like I didn't carry them around.
Dude, if you didn't burn CDs.
Well, I didn't have it like
whoa.
hooked on my belt, but yeah, you keep it in
but
the
you
car.
did feel like the coolest guy
Didn't have
around
a
with that
car yet.
iPod.
With LimeWire, you either know exactly what I'm talking about or you have no idea
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. But the amount of infection that a computer
But you
will
allegedly
take because
used
of
LimeWire.
LimeWire.
You
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I heard it was not even proven.
No, it's alleged.
Yeah.
We're going to get into some alleged stuff and lists and all type of that today. We're going to take an early look at the top 3 SEC teams entering 2024, including a couple that'll surprise you. Chris Marler from Saturday Football Uncensored is going to join us to recap the Rose Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers starts a feud with slippin' Jimmy Kimmel over Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Uh-oh! I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane and Company. Now, there has never been a time since I have been alive where it's been more exciting to be an Ole Miss fan heading into a season than there is this offseason. There's been years where we thought Ole Miss could be dangerous or maybe have a chance to make a special run if every single break fell their way due to having a couple of big-time players at spots, or maybe the offense would be so good that they could hang in games while being just mediocre in the other phases. But never has there been a chance for Ole Miss to possibly be one of the most complete football teams in the country, to be able to have a good enough organization to overcome not even playing your best against good competition because of the depth and the talent that you've accrued. But after garnering even more momentum post beating Penn State in the bowl game to go 11-2, plus returning proven game breakers at important spots and bringing in even more proven talent in the transfer portal at some position groups, Ole Miss is without a doubt a top 5 team heading into 2024. And it's legitimate. This isn't some fairy tale or story that people are making up and hoping. Oh, and while I don't consider any SEC schedule easy, we should throw that word out, especially since they're adding Texas and Oklahoma. When compared to their peers, Ole Miss doesn't exactly have a murderer's row lined up in the non-conference, and their toughest conference matchups are at home. Add in the expanded playoff to 12, and 2024 is looking like a renaissance year for Lane, Juice Kiffin, and the rest of the Ole Miss fan base. And I, for one, am here for it. I'm going to go and bring in former Michigan quarterback, national championship representative.
Yes.
Michigan
Playing for the
quarterback
national
David
championship.
Cohn. My
Oh,
brother,
dude, you already won it, man.
No, that's
my
the wrong
brother,
attitude.
former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crane. And guys, you look at what Ole Miss brings back.
Yes.
Look at Jackson Dart. See with Judkins, what they return out wide, up front, defensively. And then what they've added in the transfer portal. Walter Nolan, Barron from Tennessee, Juice Wells from South Carolina. It's an embarrassment of riches at Ole Miss, unlike anything that we've seen. And again, I want to go back to not that Ole Miss hasn't had good years. I remember when they were co-champs of the SEC West with LSU with Eli Manning, even though LSU went to the SEC championship game. But never have I looked at an Ole Miss roster, have I looked at continuity, which while they're bringing in guys from the transfer portal, there's going to be a lot of continuity in important spots for Ole Miss. Coaching staff, right? Coordinator, quarterback, line of scrimmage. Never has this Ole Miss team seemed set up to make a legitimate run at a national championship. Not that you just got to hope beyond hope that you can sneak around and trick and smoke your mirrors and grab your popcorn and do all this stuff Lane Kiffin style. I think Ole Miss can get their ass on the bus, go play whoever they're going to play, and even if they don't play their best, they can be bailed out just because of the talent and the depth that they have. We have not seen that at all.
No, I love this pick from you. And, you know, with Lane Kiffin, I think all the things you're saying are right. Had a great high school recruiting class, dominated the transfer portal. But in this day and age, another factor not a lot of people are talking about are re-recruiting your own guys. Yeah. Lane Kiffin did that as good as anyone in the country. You're going to bring back Jackson Dart. You're going to bring back Judkins. And in that bowl game against Penn State, man, Jackson Dart was under assault. Even though Chop Robinson and those corners didn't play, that was still a really good Penn State defense that you put up a lot of great points again. I thought it was an awesome, momentum builder for Jackson Dart and for the Ole Miss offense and team heading into the offseason. So I love everything you're saying about that. And most importantly, Lane Kiffin looks focused. Really for the first time ever that I've seen him be a head coach, looks so motivated to do the things you're talking about, have a presence on the national stage. So I love that pick. I'm actually going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs, though, for me, the most momentum entering the 2024 season. First of all, we're talking about one of the best teams in the country already, only lost one game in the past 2 seasons by 3 points in Atlanta against Alabama. I think you could put them in this year's playoff and no one would want to play them. Michigan doesn't want to play them. Alabama wouldn't want to play them again. But it's not so much about the performance they put up against Florida State's second team, but man, did Carson Beck look good. He just looks good delivering the football. I think he's going to be a Heisman finalist next year. They're motivated, this team that they're bringing back, and all of that combined with the fact, they also had the number 1 recruiting class coming out of high school.
Yeah, and I mean, Kirby's not going to have to reach far to find motivation after this group didn't make the playoff. You saw Carson Beck, one of the main reasons he decided to come back, which is I think it's a smart move. I think J.J. McCarthy should follow suit because the class is so loaded, but then missing the playoff. But without a doubt, I mean, you look at the way Georgia reloads, what they do bring back at certain spots. You know how talented they're going to be up front. I think the front 7 has a chance to be even more special than it was this past year going into next year. So, yeah, Georgia's here to stay. I do want to bring up, and Blaine, I know you're going to pick your team. We want to know what you think, too. We're going to open the phone lines up at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern. But when you look at a schedule's a huge deal here. Because remember, we are going away from divisions. There's not a 9-conference in-game or 9-game in-conference schedule yet. I think the SEC is going there. You're adding Texas and Oklahoma. But when you look at Ole Miss's schedule, if we can pull that up, I just want to go through that really quickly. So I think the toughest non-conference is Wake Forest. I can't remember if that game's on
Georgia
the road
Southern. Don't be disrespectful.
Hey, you best come correct.
Yeah, I'm not
Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I mean, and then you look, I know they do go to LSU, but you get Georgia at home and you don't play Alabama.
They don't play Alabama.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge.
They go to Florida at the end of the year, and the Egg Bowl will be at home at the end of the year.
I'm telling you, look at all the ingredients, all the recipe, and I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC. I think they have a legitimate chance. But you talk about getting in that 12-team playoff and having a chance to do some damage. Because, look, we're entering an age now, and we saw this could have happened with Ohio State last year, is that you can, especially now with the 12-team expanded playoff, you can lose big games during the regular season. You can lose to your rival during the regular season and then make up for it in the playoff if you go win the whole thing or have a chance to even make the Final Four now, which is going to be an even cooler thing than making the Final Four is where we currently sit with the 14 playoff. But Blaine, who do you got?
Well, I would like to get y'all's opinion on the 2 new teams coming to the SEC too. Which one y'all think more in that? But I like both your picks. But I'm gonna go with the Missouri Tigers. Yeah. I mean, right now, if you want to talk about momentum, seeing Missouri beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl was the best Missouri because now people can believe in the nation that you can beat the best. And you go through the losses they had. Hell, you lost to 9 points by Georgia, where you had a chance to win that game, and you had a shootout against LSU. But what do we look at when we look at key positions? You got the who cooked here, Brady Cook coming back, who's gone through it the last 2 years, from a 6-6 year before that to now this year. You have Luther Burden, which in my opinion will probably be the best receiver coming back in college football. You lose Schrader up front. You lose some key pieces on defense. But Drink is building this team to last. They're building. I can't tell you a game where Missouri hasn't walked into it thinking they have a chance to win. And if you're a Missouri fan, you're starting to get over the hump. You're starting to see the promised land on the other side of that. And Missouri is now walking into football games expecting to win these games. And you go look at their schedule. You got a couple tough ones. You go to Texas A&M, and you go to Alabama. But other than that, with the experience that you're bringing back, Missouri's a team people do not want to see next year.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, can be a college football playoff.
Well, there's a ton of parallels, I think, between Ole Miss and Missouri. I don't think Missouri's got one of the tougher schedules in the SEC anyway. But if you're heading into this next year and you're a Missouri fan, you're walking around the tailgate a little bit different. You're an Ole Miss fan. You show up at school with that Ole Miss shirt on. It means a little more than what it used to. Not saying that these schools haven't had pride. Not saying that these schools haven't had years where they've done good things or had a chance to win championships. But talk about building it to last, right? Building that foundation, finding your guy. There's some similarities in Drink and Kiffin, too, and kind of their personalities and how they go about things. So I'm so interested to see teams that have gone from, the duplex to the suburbs. Trying to move to the hills.
Oh,
like what's Burbank talking about?
Wow. It's like you were just a little freshman, then you went through a summer, you came back, you grew 3 inches and gained 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And people starting to talk to you.
Putting up 225.
Yeah. It's that weight doesn't feel as heavy.
No.
You're not looking up to people as much. You're starting to look down at some people, and that's where you want to be.
Well, yeah, and again, you got guys like Brady Cook and Jackson Dart. Look, they're the 27-year-old who's been through the good relationships, been through the bad relationships, knows what they're looking for, and they're ready to settle down, right? Hey, maybe I don't need to meet you out on Broadway, right? Like Morgan Wallen says, leave them Broadway girls alone. Maybe I meet you, maybe it's at a spin class. Hell, maybe it's at a farmer's market.
Well,
who knows?
To keep the analogy going, what about the prom king? What about the defending champion, Alabama? They're going to return Jalen Monroe, Nick Saban, more likely to come back than he was. They're not going to win the national championship. How you feeling about that roster next year?
What? Alabama's going to be good. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. Like, it's what this is it now. This is until there is some paradigm shift, right? Whether that be Nick Saban, deciding to get transported up to the mothership again, where he came from, like Kirby Smart, Georgia's not going anywhere. The question is not, the question is not about Georgia and Alabama. Like, they're going to be really good. Right? They got really good players. They've turned it into the machine. It's who is that next year? We've waited on A&M, right? And that didn't come to fruition with Jimbo Fisher. We're looking at Auburn and Hugh Freeze. Josh Heupel and them gave us a taste last year. You look at what Nico showed us in the bowl game and what they have moving forward. And we're going to go through each conference. It's not just going to be SEC. We're going to talk Big 12, Big 10, and stuff like that. But just in the SEC, Georgia, I can tell you, Georgia's going to be good. Bama's going to be good. Vandy's going to probably suck. That's just the truth. Even though I do like them getting the Nate Johnson kid.
Come on, Nate.
From Utah. Hey, at least be good at something.
Hey, we're really
run around.
We're really
run around.
We're not really
cause problems.
So what about LSU?
We are focused on finishing.
What's LSU? Is Nussmeier going to start at quarterback for LSU?
I think he is.
I think he's good.
But Garrett's fine. But you cannot get away, and they couldn't get away with it this year. They got away with it
had the Heisman winner
with as bad of a defense.
I know,
as you had last year with Garrett Nussmeier, because one element of the run game is gone pretty much.
Sure.
Now, not only that, but Jane Daniels' ability to extend plays and make those crazy scramble drill plays, the etch-a-sketch plays, as we call them. So kind of looking around the periphery, it's going to be interesting to see what teams step up. But I think Tennessee
quickly,
and
though. Ole
Miss and Missouri.
Oklahoma, Texas.
The, 2 new teams coming in. You have to go with Texas right now, right?
Yeah.
Just from a momentum standpoint, because they made the college football playoff. You're coming off a season where you beat Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa, and you return your quarterback. So you'd have to give the nod to them. And plus, in Austin, for the last 10 years, it's really been a struggle. Now you can sort of sense that momentum. Okay, Sark is the right guy. Fell short against Washington in the college football playoff, but we're returning so much. Let's build off of that.
Without a doubt. And yes, you have to look at Texas and say you feel better about that situation than Oklahoma's, especially with Jackson Arnold kind of turning the ball over the way that he did, even though I think it's good for him to get the mistakes out. I got a lot of respect for the Big 12. Got a lot of respect for Texas. You went on the road and beat Alabama, right, in week 2. Very impressive. Made the college football playoff. Very impressive. But until you go through this SEC schedule, I don't think we can really, A, know, or B, they can understand. Not that Sark doesn't understand, but the problem with playing in the SEC, the hardest part is not the one-off games against Bama. Oh, you get to go play Bama. Now here's UCF. Okay, here's a couple run-of-the-mill teams. Oh, you may run into a Kansas State that's a problem. Texas Tech can get hot. I love what Joey McGuire's doing over there. But the hardest part about playing in the SEC and what makes it what it is, it's that week in and week out absolute grind of outside of Vanderbilt being in a fist fight or having the potential to lose every game. I think you can say the same thing about SEC basketball too now. Like it's oh, hey, wow, we went on the road and somehow beat Alabama. By the grace of God, beat Alabama on the road. Guess what? Congratulations. You know what you got next week? You're going to Kentucky. Right?
Well,
you're going to LSU.
Don't forget, Texas has Michigan week 2.
Oh, yeah, Texas is scheduled next year.
And you got Georgia at home. No
it's like
Alabama.
Getting sat on by a fat kid when you're younger, so you just can't get out, and it stinks.
Let's go to Danny, girl. How we doing today? Lane and Drink have the easiest path to the playoffs in 2024. Georgia, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, Missouri, LSU, Tennessee, Oklahoma are my 2 early top 8 SEC teams.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
No, I think you're spot on. I think it's more of a fun conversation when you take Georgia and Alabama out of it, just because we know. Like, who's going to continue to elevate? Ole Miss is an obvious answer. Missouri's an obvious answer. I look at Tennessee right there. How's Kentucky going to respond? Getting Vandegrift from Georgia after Devin Leary's moving on. And it's fascinating to see. And it's just like it's fascinating to see who's going to take over that vacuum in the Big 12. Now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone, there's a ton of fascinating storylines outside of the obviously, pole-shifting cultural changes that we're getting in college football via the transfer portal or NIL. Or conference realignment, or playoff expansion. It's just, it's a crazy time right
Well, if we take Georgia out of it, then I could, take Texas A&M as my pick with what Mike Elko's doing. They got another big hire. Was it Alabama's?
Yeah, they got Ryan
coach?
Williams, lead recruiter too.
Yeah,
Wiggins.
And so I don't know. It's just we talk about Texas A&M every offseason, but now it just feels a little different with a change at head coach.
What a time to be alive.
Let's go to Steve, and he says, now that Michigan has shown how to beat Alabama, will SEC teams be able to replicate that success and strategy in the 2024 season?
Well, I mean, Alabama hadn't made the playoffs the last 2 years before that. I think it's a year-by-year basis. I mean, this Alabama team, I think, is going to be a lot different than the Alabama team that you play next year. The problem is it's a moving target. It's not one formula that you say, all right, this is it, this is the recipe. If there is one, you know what it is? You get as good as players as them. That's the trick. But if we're going to talk schematically, I don't think Michigan did anything overarchingly schematically that was brilliant that has now put Alabama into a bind. This isn't the era of, oh no, teams are beating Alabama because of the hurry up, no huddle. Like this is we can see the formula to do it. And then what does Nick Saban do? What all the greats do that are able to maintain when they're at the top. They're malleable when they're at the top. Oh, I don't like the hurry up, no huddle. I'll tell you I don't like it. I don't like this rule change. I'll tell you I don't like it, but when I realize you're not going to change it, well, then I'm just going to become better than you at it. Let's not confuse that with this. I think this was just the happenstance of this Alabama team and this Michigan team. Yes. It was an ugly game where I thought both quarterbacks underperformed. I thought the game plan by both offensive coordinators wasn't fantastic in the first half. There were some good adjustments late, but I don't think there's some, Pythagorean's theorem that now you're like, oh, well, A squared plus B squared equals beat Bama's ass. That's how it works.
And they're not the first team to do it. Clemson beat them a couple times.
For sure.
Georgia's done it. The Buckeyes have done it. Recruit the best players possible and don't fold in the big moment.
Yeah, and you probably got to catch a couple breaks.
Yeah.
Let's go to Christina. #CNC. Does J.J. McCarthy stay or leave?
Has to stay.
Has to stay.
We talked about this yesterday.
Has to stay.
Throughout the season, I was feeling like, okay, J.J. McCarthy is playing his way into, one of those top 3-round grades. And if Michigan doesn't win the national championship, possibly he'll come back. But if they do win it, then he may go. But then down the stretch of the season, I was telling you, man, it's looking more and more like he should probably come back. But after these last couple performances, I think without a doubt, like you have to return. You're talking about one of the deepest quarterback classes I've ever seen because of all these guys getting extra COVID eligibility or whatever. Look around the country. Quinn Ewers, I think, has a better, case to make for being an.
I think he's a better quarterback than J.J.
Carson Beck as well. All of those guys are coming back. I think J.J. McCarthy, if they win the national championship, he may just say, look, I need to go out on top and I'll take my chances with being a mid-round pick or a late-round pick. But I think he would do well to come back for another year.
Well, I mean, you look, again, I think so many things and so many variables are pointing to JJ needing to come back outside of the fact that I just don't think he's ready as a passer. I don't think he's consistent enough as a passer. JJ McCarthy is very athletic, but make no mistake, he isn't some superhuman athlete like Lamar Jackson in the NFL that can create in that way. And even Lamar's had to tone it down because guys can hawk Lamar at that level. If they can hawk Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, they can. JJ McCarthy, as athletic as he is, you're not going to go out there and just start out athleting everybody. You're not going to. Tim Tebow couldn't go and run over everybody in the NFL. If you're not ready as a passer, and I'm not saying he can't be, I think he's got all the tools. His arm strength's improved. He's obviously played a lot of ball. But when I go back and it's the small things for me, it's the first play of the Alabama game. Mm-hmm. You know what play you're running. It's been scripted. Y'all went through the first 10. Y'all walked through it. You knew you were waiting on that outbreaking route. And if you got man, you were going to spit it out there quick. And you got it. Not only did you not spit it out when you're rolling arm side, you waited, let the corner drift back when they called a China call or a smash alert, however the hell they do it at Bama, and you threw it right to him. But there were multiple open guys. I still think the anticipatory throwing for J.J. McCarthy has to increase because that's the difference.
They're not open in the NFL.
They're not. I mean, and then you look at the variables around you. Carson Beck's coming back. Well, if Carson Beck's coming back, maybe I should look at coming back. Bo Nix and them have to go. Jaden Daniels, Heisman winner, decides to go. Cam Ward just declared that he's going to go. So I look at JJ. I don't think he's ready. I think the class is full. Everything points to going back. And if you win it at Michigan, now you have a chance to come back and possibly win it again. I don't know, man. I think coming back's a no-brainer. I don't think they're broke either, the McCarthys. With NIL now, hell, you can make as much as he may make more in NIL coming back to Michigan than he would have made in the NFL draft.
What do you think, Blaine?
You got to say, the draft's too deep. It's too deep. Like, and I was talking about this with somebody the other day. When's the last time we had a QB class this deep?
I don't think we've seen it.
I can't ever remember one.
And I don't know if we'll see one again just because these guys got extra eligibility. I mean, think about it. Back in the day, Bo Nix would have already been gone, right? I believe. Michael Penix Jr. would have been gone. There's a couple, I think Sam
Hartman would have been gone.
Sam Hartman would have already been gone. I think he was 6 years. So, and then you add that to all of these other guys who are deciding to come out, like you just mentioned, Cam Ward and Jaden Daniels and those guys. And so I don't know. If you're J.J. McCarthy, to me, you got to come back for that senior year and just have another year to bake.
Yeah, I just think it's a smart business and reality situation for J.J. McCarthy. But speaking about reality, remember, if you donate, we're going to read that at the end if it's not pertaining to the subject that we're talking about. The phone line's open, 7:15 a.m. Central. But something else that runs deep, all right? Appearance. You got to look good to play good.
Fact.
All right, we talk about this all the time, like whether it's clothes that we're talking about, right? Whether it's supplements, whether it's weight loss. But one big thing, it's hair care, all right? And if you're one of the millions of American men and women dealing with premature hair loss, maybe you're scared about inheriting that thinning look because it runs in the family. You know, sorry about the genes. It's like a bad Wrangler commercial. But you can start 2024 off right with a real solution that delivers on its promise without the harsh side effects, unwanted chemicals, and no need for a prescription. That's right, Provia. All right, they're professionals. There's a reason the word pro's in there. All right, it's Provia. They use a safe natural ingredient called Procapil to effectively target the three main causes of premature hair thinning and loss. Guys, listen, losing your hair, it's tough. It's half of my family on my mother's side, they deal with it, right? On my father's side, they don't. Hopefully, I haven't had any signs yet, but I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with this. Right, and it ruins your day. Sometimes you get up, you look in the mirror, and you feel like there's nothing you can do about it. But with Provia, I'm telling you guys, this is the best product to get you back where you want to be from a hair standpoint. And right now, new customers, they can save over 50% plus free shipping on Provia's introductory package at proviahair.com/booster. That's PROVIA.com/booster, and you can save an extra 10%. All right, as well, to get noticeable results. And every order includes your choice of a free gift right now at checkout. Provia Works guaranteed or 100% of your money back. So don't wait. Order now and save 10% and free shipping at proviahair.com/booster. I'm telling you guys, if you're looking for an answer, men and women in this category, check out Provia. I promise I think you'll be very excited about the results. It's a fantastic company. It's a fantastic product. But speaking about fantastic products, if you enjoy the show, if you're watching on Rumble, you're watching on YouTube, you're listening, you're watching on the Daily Wire, you watch Lady Ballers and you loved it, we're going to drop the link for merch in the chat. We'd really appreciate you to grab some stuff. We got mugs, we got hoodies, candles, all type of stuff. Lady Ballers merch as well. So grab that. I know that the holidays are over, but it's never a bad time to get you Crane & Company.
Facts.
David. All right, we're going to get back to the Booster Club. Let's get to this NFL Rapid Fire before we bring Chris on here and y'all two to scream about the Rose Bowl at each other.
No screaming. The game's
screaming.
over.
I want anger, David.
Much to discuss in the NFL, though. Let's start with Sean Payton benching Russell Wilson. Now, we know about the contract issue here, that Russell Wilson is guaranteed $39 million for 2024. All right, but he's also guaranteed another $37 million, which is his 2025 salary, if he cannot pass a physical on the 5th day of the new league year, which would be in March. So Russell Wilson saying management at the Broncos came to him and asked him to waive some of this money or restructure or something, and he said no. Then he gets benched by Sean Payton, who says this is strictly a football decision, wants to go with Jarrett Stidham. What do you guys make of this whole situation?
Well, I mean, if you follow the bouncing balls, it doesn't seem like strictly a... Well, what's your definition of strictly a football decision? We're saying the way you're playing is performance-based?
Sean Payton says, I'm going with the guy who gives us the best chance to win. Do you buy into that?
Yeah, no, but like, what is he supposed to say? Like this is what when people are like, oh well, you know, he just says that because he has to. Well, yeah, I'm not going to come out if we're playing, you know, for lack of a better term, SCLSU this week and I'm Bama. Nick Saban's not going to come out there and say, yeah, they suck, we're going to kill them. Like, he knows deep down that's what's going to happen, but he's going to come out, he's going to give you the company line. Is Sean Payton supposed to come out and say, guys, listen, we feel like this contract kind of is trash, so we tried to get him to change it, and he didn't, so now we're just not going to play him?
But if it's for him not to get injured, because that's when you would owe him the money, right? If he can't pass a physical, if he gets injured in one of these last few games, could he at least say, look, we're looking out for the best, the future of the franchise here, and what gives us a chance to win next year if you're already eliminated from the playoffs? And
well, are they statistically eliminated?
That's why I'm looking.
Well, again, go back and read like what Sean Payton said.
Statistically eliminated.
Okay. Like we're trying to put our football team in the best position, but I think they're trying to punish Russell Wilson. Again, it's like a negotiating tactic to me, is what it seems like. Now, I will say I saw what Ryan Clark said that Sean Payton, you know, this is thuggish behavior, which, look, I mean, if we're going to use that word, like, let's use that word. I've got no problem with it. When I look at it, it's like this. Here's where I'm kind of torn. Because on one hand, Sean Payton knew that Russell Wilson was there when he took the job. Like, you knew what you were getting into. If it was that big of a deal, you should have either told him, no, you'll wait on somebody else, like the Chargers or somebody, or find a way to do it right when I come in there or before I come in there. Like, don't take the job if it's that big of a problem. But on the other side of it is, Sean Payton didn't sign Russell Wilson either. Mm-hmm. So if he went in there and said, I'm going to take the job and I'm going to give Russell a chance. Maybe I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan, but it kind of is what it is. The I's are already dotted. The T's are already crossed. I'm going to give him a chance. And it's not like Russell Wilson's blown it out of the water, right? He hadn't been the worst, but he hadn't been the best. And I always find it very hard to feel sympathy for somebody that's guaranteed $37 million. Like, it's hard for me to feel sympathy for Texas A&M, for Jimbo Fisher for getting fired when they had to pay him $80 million.
Well, do you think this is more about not wanting to get your franchise quarterback injured when you're eliminated from the playoffs already, or is this more about Sean Payton doesn't want Russell Wilson to be the franchise quarterback?
I don't think Sean Payton wants Russell Wilson
I don't either.
franchise quarterback. Well, Russell Wilson hasn't been the same guy since Seattle. And his last year in Seattle, he wasn't the same guy. So you went and paid this... Russell Wilson and Derek Carr are almost a Spider-Man GIF to me. And that's such a sad thing to say.
No.
I swear.
Don't do that to Russell Wilson.
I'm not saying past Russell Wilson. I'm not saying past. I'm saying Russell Wilson today. Right? Even when you guarantee him,
now.
You're
not saying compared to
No. I'm not saying we're not comparing careers here.
Okay.
I'm not doing that. I'm saying Russell Wilson right now and Derek Carr are basically the same guy. They are basically the same guy. And I don't think Sean Payton likes Russell Wilson playing quarterback for him because I think Russell tries to do too many things on his own. I really do. I think Sean look, you can have leeway for sure, but when it comes to certain play calls at certain times and critical moments, Russell seems to go the opposite way of which Sean wants to go. And are we really going to be honest here and say Jared Stidham's better than Russell Wilson?
No.
I'm not. I don't think Jared Stidham gives you a better chance to win. I wasn't hearing any of this when the Broncos run a 5-game winning streak, but you drop a couple, and next thing you know, you're not the franchise guy. I thought the contract was ridiculous. You should have never gave him all this money. And two, Russell Wilson hasn't been the same since he was in Seattle.
The only contract I think is worse for a quarterback in the NFL was Deshaun Watson in the Browns. That was
Joe Flacco is balling.
But here's what I'll say.
Something about Flacco.
Here's what I'll say. I'll get it. If I'm Sean Payton, all right, if I'm the Broncos, right, and I'm living in my house, my neighbor's right next to me, we both got the same car, all right, we were both promised this Camaro that's legit, street race legal, however the hell you want to term it, and it's not performing well, and I'm paying triple the car payment a month that my neighbor's paying for the same car, I'm going to get pissed. That's what it seems like to me.
All right, I have Russell Wilson and Derek Carr stats pulled up here, so I'll go player A, player B.
This year.
You tell me which one's which, all right? Player A.
Be close.
Player A, 68% completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. You got that? 3,600, 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 68% completion percentage. Player B, 66% completion percentage, 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Which one's which?
Derek Carr's the second one.
I would say the first one you said was 68% completion percentage. The second one was 66.
Yeah.
I think Derek's completing more of his passes.
He is. That was player A.
Yeah.
So I give you the props on Derek Carr's stats this year. 3,600 yards. Russell Wilson does have more touchdowns, though. But now that I'm looking at it, I mean, both of those stats are great. Like 3,000 plus yards, over 4-to-1 interception, touchdown to interception ratio. Well, I guess 3-to-1 on.
Yeah, it's 3-to-1. But it doesn't. If you watch it, watch these guys, it doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. I don't know if they take it
like what Broncos fan right now is sitting in his chair watching Crane & Company like, I'm Russell Wilson to the death of me. I believe it. He's taking us to the promised land. Like, can you watch the Broncos and you're like,
and I know it's
like, are you winning a Super Bowl? Here's the question.
Like that
Sean Payton went to Denver to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Are you winning a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson at quarterback? I don't think you are.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Lions and Cowboys game. We didn't get to this over the break. Controversial ending where the Lions completed a 2-point conversion to win the game, which Dan Campbell even going for that call is just insane.
And then went for it again.
He went for it when they got the penalty. But the tackle who caught the touchdown apparently did not declare that he was eligible. Do we have the video of them going up to the referee?
Yeah.
Let's play this here. They sent two guys up there.
If you're on audio, we're literally watching the two offensive linemen. Here he goes. He's running in, reporting as eligible.
So I think I know where you stand on this being a defensive guy. But why should a guy have to report anyway if there's already a rule that says you have to be the last guy on the line of scrimmage to catch a pass? Can't the defense just say, hey, this guy's eligible based off the formation they're in?
Yes, but I feel like that would have to be something that's been done for a while.
Okay.
Like we are so used to in defenses. This is why you have eligible numbers, right? This guy's eligible to catch a pass. This guy's not eligible to catch a pass regardless of where they line up. Mm-hmm. Well, you can now report as eligible, and then they tell everybody, hey, everybody playing and watching.
It ruins a trick play, though.
68 is an eligible receiver. But no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It works every time. It still works every single time. Because at some point in your eyes, if that offensive lineman, if you see number 68 and he pass sets, nobody is watching 68 at safety and they're like, yep, here comes the slow release, unless they've run it a ton of times. This is very simple. You report as eligible. They say, hey, this number's eligible. You are now eligible if you line up in an eligible spot. It's not like you're just lining up at center.
Why shouldn't they go do it every time? Why shouldn't the offensive lineman go to the referee every single play and say, I'm eligible to set this up so you're not giving away a trick play?
Well, you could, but then you'd have to align in an eligible formation, which changes the way like you play offense and the way you align. Here's what happened. They went up and told the ref they were eligible. Here, before games, I used to do this as a special teams coordinator. You go up to the officials, and if you have any specials, right, any trick plays or anything that may be confusing, you talk with the referees about this before. I used to show diagrams of fake punts with numbers of players. Hey, 86 is my PP. All right, he's gonna run a wheel off our rugby punt. We're gonna throw it to him. This is why it's legal. They say, okay, cool. They watch for it. I am sure that happens before NFL games. I know these referees were told this. The referees were told this during the game that the player was reporting as eligible. Y'all just screwed up. I don't think this is some conspiracy. I think the referees screwed up. I don't think this is some conspiracy for the Cowboys. Sure. I don't think this is some deep-rooted, whatever. I think just like in politics, and we see this in all walks of life, people never admit they're wrong anymore, especially people with power. Because if they admit they're wrong, then they admit they can be wrong again. They'll open the door up for it to be. Those referees could have came out and said, guys, he reported as eligible. We screwed it up. We screwed it up. Fine us. Fine me. We screwed it up. That's on us. And you know what? Most of us would have said, you're a human being. I get it. But they just
probably not. Most of us wouldn't have said that.
Do you think he declared as eligible?
Yeah, it was just right there.
What else is he going up there
what else do you want?
He's not asking him about what he thinks the NASDAQ's going to do later.
What do you want me to send you a voice memo?
I'll tweet it to you next time.
Yeah. He should have known something was wrong when that ref didn't announce it. He should have known when something was wrong when he didn't announce it. Because if you're a ref, you have to announce it.
Yeah.
Correct?
How do we know he didn't announce it?
Because I didn't hear it. Did you hear it? During the game?
Oh, you're talking about the referee.
The referee has to announce it over the mic that, hey, and if you're a defense, if you ever hear that a lineman is eligible, they're throwing him the ball.
What does the ref have to go to every player on defense? Hey, watch out for 68 on this one here.
Yeah.
Watch out for 68.
100%. 100%. But if you're a Lions fan, you just have to be sick to yourself.
Well, it's not like,
Hey, do you want to explain to the people what a PP is too?
Oh, it's personal protector on punt. This is like back when they run it in the pros. Like you have to run technically a pro-style punt. There's rules that are in the NFL that aren't in college. It's not in the shield, but imagine if you're watching a college punt, you have the 3 shield, right? You have the 2 offensive linemen, the defensive end, the 2 tight ends, however you do it. When you watch the NFL, there's one personal protector in the middle. That's called the PP. It's the personal protector for the punter. He's calling the protections. Are we going to man aside, zone aside, full zone, full man, whatever. That's what a PP is.
But it had significant.
Not a PP.
This had significant implications too. I mean, the Lions could have gotten the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Do I need to repeat that? The Lions are playing for a number 1
overall seed. It has to feel a little bit better though if you're a
seed.
Lions fan that you did wrap up the division already.
Oh, they did do that.
Which Lions fans, when's the last time you got this? Ole Miss is going to be good. The Lions just won the division. What the hell is going on?
I know. You love to see it. All right, there's a lot to get to in the NFL throughout the week. We had to talk about this last week of the regular season, but I do want to get to this Aaron Rodgers story.
So
Aaron Rodgers went on McAfee.
Yesterday.
I think we have a video of this, basically just making a joke about Jeffrey Epstein's client list coming out soon, but he mentions Jimmy Kimmel in it.
Yeah,
and Jimmy Kimmel was none too happy.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
Feels like
AJ Hawk.
That's supposed to be coming out soon. That's supposed to be coming out.
Is that all we have?
Well, here's my whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. I just feel like, number one, if anybody's going to be on there, it's got to be that guy. Right?
Well, he went on in that clip to say.
Yeah, later in that clip, Aaron Rodgers says Jimmy Kimmel. He's waiting in his wine cellar for Jimmy Kimmel because they've had beef back and forth for a minute now. Aaron said some, then Jimmy said something about it on the show. See, here you go right here is a tweet. Jake, if you want to read it.
A little bit of language at the beginning of this tweet, just if you have a child in the car, just a heads up. This is a Jimmy Kimmel tweet, Slippin' Jimmy. Dear asshole, for the record, I have not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court. At Aaron Rodgers. Ooh.
Didn't Jimmy make a living off doing this about Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Listen, here's where I draw the line with Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think there is a bigger hypocrite out there than Jimmy Kimmel. This is the same guy that sits here and cries about oh, this oppression. Oh, the way women treated her horrible. You want to know what I grew? You want to know who you can't fool, Jimmy? Right? It's the guys who grew up watching you on The Man Show.
I did.
With Adam Carolla. You know, the one where chicks were in bikinis, jumping on trampolines as the intro and the outro, and you guys were sitting down drinking beers, just talking about boobs and sports, which it's a great situation. Like, nobody's getting pissed. I thought it was a great show. I thought The Man Show was fantastic. I thought it was some of Comedy Central's best stuff. But just to watch the free fall of Jimmy Kimmel just as a sellout, like, who would not be? When you say you're not on something, I think you're on something.
Well, yeah, if you get this upset about it, if you had to type that whole tweet out, it just feels like
you're on there.
You're hiding something, right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Come on now, Jimmy.
Jimmy, don't get scared. And Jimmy, don't do it.
When did Epstein died in 2019, something like that?
This is
4 years ago, and we're still talking about this list hasn't come out. What's happened in the 4 years? What, the right people have gotten to it and doctored it, and like
does
can you even trust this thing?
Does Aaron need to come out and say he definitely wouldn't commit suicide?
I don't know.
Does he need to do that?
Would it matter?
I don't.
Would
know.
it matter? Like
they just go after his other Achilles?
Yeah, they just say with death by 1,000 Achilles cuts.
Like these people seem to get away with whatever they want.
Whatever they want, David.
Well, the guy who was we have Marler. Marler ready to go yet? There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, not yet. He's saying no. Or is he saying yes? All right, he's ready to go. Justine, we ready to rock and roll? All right, Chris Marler, Saturday Football Uncensored, Saturday Football Down South. And he's also on some lists, not the Epstein one, though, but Santa's nice list, I heard, at least for this year. Marler, what's up, dog?
I was shaking my head. I'm not emotionally ready for this. They got a lot of crow to eat. But it's good to be back. My voice is working again. So that one guy who's been constantly tweeting at me and you, Jake, about...
Talking about Voltar? Is it Voltar?
That guy was real upset.
Voltar, what'd he say?
Sick.
Voltar, I can feel him calling it on the line right now. You and him had a nice little exchange on social media the other day. But listen, Chris, I'm going to let David start here, right? Number one, you're a gentleman and a scholar. We know we're glad you're feeling better. We know you were sick last time, but man, what a Rose Bowl! What
a Rose Bowl, man! Do you have your hat with you today, by any chance?
So I couldn't get a Michigan hat on demand like that, but I will get the Michigan hat.
Just walk outside, Chris. They're everywhere.
I thought you were here to make good on your bet. Tell the people about your bet.
So the bet was the day I was sick. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I guess NyQuil's a hell of a drug. I got real mouthy and real overconfident on Twitter and said some things about Michigan that was, I'll just say it, a little misguided and very ignorant. And then I went to sleep for like 2 days and woke up to just an absolute blank storm on my timeline.
Yeah.
For Michigan fans.
Like the ghost of Lloyd Carr's just like in your room, like screaming at you.
I thought like going into that game, like I knew that Michigan was good. And I said that I think a lot of Bama fans in the first half were going to be very frustrated, like not thinking. I think that a lot of Bama fans thought they were going to just walk all over them. I knew Michigan was good. I came away, did not realize how impressive from a roster standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, from like a scheme standpoint. It was incredible to watch. So congrats to you, David.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I wish I was still on the team and had more to do with it. But Jake and I did watch the game together, and we're sitting there and we're thinking, like, both teams made their fair share of mistakes. I haven't seen Michigan make a special teams blunder all season long. It got so bad in this game, we were wondering, could they make a PAT to even force it to overtime? But before that, it looked like Nick Saban went into halftime, did his typical thing, made his adjustments, was going to outcoach Jim Harbaugh in the second half because Michigan was shut out in the second half before that last 4-minute drive. And when Michigan needed it the most, they went down and scored. They forced overtime, and then Blake Corum, your senior running back, who comes back for this, took over. I mean, what are your thoughts on just not just the game, but just how Michigan has gone through this season? And, their schedule was called weak. They had these cheating allegations. They beat Ohio 3 times in a row. Now to finally get over that hump, beat an SEC team in the college football playoff. What do you make of that? And what do you think about their chances going into the Washington game?
Well, so I think the thing with Michigan is cheating allegations was low-hanging fruit for a lot of people, including myself. And the schedule was weak for the first 2 months, as it has set up the past couple of years. And so I think a lot of that has become a cliche slander against Michigan for whatever reason. And on top of it, once they have actually made it to the playoff, they've lost in the first round both years. This team, what was most impressive to me was what you just said. In the second half of that game, right, they had, I think at one point, 12 plays for 24 total yards. They had 6 carries for -2 yards, and that was going into the last drive. You're down 7 in the Rose Bowl, and like season's on the line, got to have it. And they went right down the field and scored. That's what elite teams do. Like they overcome the adversity, they overcome their own mistakes. Like I said, they out-schemed, they out-coached. I thought they outplayed Bama for most of that game. So what I was mainly impressed with, and I think that like I was kind of blown away with the creativity with the play calling on offense. That was not like some 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense. They got dudes everywhere, and it was just like I said, top to bottom. It was really impressive.
Mm.
Yeah, well, typically, I'm used to, when you see whether it's been a Michigan in the past or a team that's really outside of the SEC playing a top dog from the SEC, they may have 2/3 of the puzzle, but they don't have all 3 pieces of the puzzle, whether it's in the back end, whether it's up front, whether it's at the skill position. Special teams was bad, but I think we can say that was kind of an anomaly.
I do think it was an anomaly.
Over time. Michigan's a complete football team, and that's what we were talking about leading off the show, Chris. And me and you are close to around the same age, and I'm looking at the Southeastern Conference now and college football in general. We talked about Ole Miss having a chance to be a complete team going into next year. Missouri looking like they can have a chance to be a complete team. We know Georgia's going to be good. We know Alabama's going to be good. When you look around the rest of the country, are there a couple teams that kind of jump out to you maybe that can take that next step in 2024? And it doesn't just have to be SEC. Looking around at the ACC, at the Big Ten, can Penn State finally take that next step, right, with that 12-team playoff? Is there any teams that kind of jump out to you going into next year outside of the normal, names of the top dogs that we see?
I'm going to hold off on Penn State for quite some time. That has just burned me too many times. But I'd say the one that jumps up the most is still in that same conference that you mentioned, the SEC, and that's Tennessee. I've said this for a couple of years now. When NIL got into play in college sports, some of these dormant blue bloods and powerhouses were going to make they were going to storm back into relevance. And like Tennessee, Miami, USC, I thought would all be on that list. Tennessee, with what Heupel can do on offense, the talent they're bringing in, not only at quarterback, but especially at the skill positions. And they've played like really, really, it's gone, I feel like, flown under the radar, but they played really good defense over the past couple of years as well. For the most part. So I think Tennessee is one that really, really jumps out. Going around the country, I tell you what, the Big Ten, I don't think it's like a shock to say Oregon. I think Oregon is about to be a mainstay in the top 5 for quite some time. I think going into the Big Ten and being able to build that brand even bigger than what it already is, and being able to recruit kids like even more so than you already did, like because they're not going to have to play in the Pac-12, they can play in the Big Ten. I think they're going to be a mainstay, like maybe not like the Florida State 90s run where you're in the top 5 for 13 straight years, but I think they are going to contend for championships every year.
Well, and two, I think when we look at teams that are ready to take that next step, Oregon has to be one of them, right? A team that really hasn't done anything when you look at the college football playoff. Going to the 12 team, they're one of the teams that it benefits the most. I think Penn State's right there too, though, Chris, because there's so many moving parts. Divisions getting out of conferences. I don't know if it helps a team more than it does Penn State getting out of that Big Ten East. Yeah, you're probably going to have to play one of them. Yeah, you're adding USC and UCLA and Oregon and Washington. But being able to get out of that division, man, it's just like getting jumped with a bunch of guys with aluminum baseball bats snapping their fingers in the middle of the street.
Yeah, it's not great. Chris, I want to give you your thoughts on Tommy Rees and how he called this football game, especially in the first half. And after you give me those, I want you to give me your thoughts on the final play and how do you think it should have went?
So the first half, it was uncomfortable at best to watch because it didn't feel like they had a game plan. It felt like they showed up to I compared it to showing up for like a fight and you're going up like you think you're going to box. And all of a sudden, this guy with like cauliflower ears, like are breaking out like leg kicks and stuff. Like that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like Bama was really prepared. They had 4 sacks on Milroe's first 6 dropbacks. Like that's insane to me. So it wasn't like they had much of anything going. I think they had 38 total yards and they had a 34-yard touchdown. So not great in the first half. I thought it was better in the second half. People hate on that play call on 4th and 3. I thought Jalen Milroe deserved to have the ball in his hands. I think he's earned that this year. He's the best athlete on the field. Could it have worked out better? I've seen so much speculation on what the play call was supposed to be. I don't know if any of us really know exactly what they were trying to do. But yeah, I think like that offensive line, like Milroe's gotten so much heat for this game, and he didn't have his best game. That offensive line giving up 6 sacks and then getting blown up in the backfield on that play. When if you look at the replay, he might have been able to walk in if he cuts it left. That's where I think the blame like should fall more so than on Milroe. With Reese, man, it can't take 30 minutes each week to get it going. It just can't. They can't. I love the second half adjustments. It's been great, but like they finally caught up with you when you play a team like Michigan because they were going to go toe to toe with you for 60 minutes.
I just don't understand this. I mean, you're in the Rose Bowl. How can we not snap the ball?
Yeah,
how can we not get did we not take a snap over Christmas break?
It's the easiest thing. It's not, hey, man, we ran into each other on this combination outside, or we keep false starting because the cadence is a little bit messed up. We're talking about dinner's ready, just now you got to go get the fork out of the silverware drawer, and your ass cannot find the silverware drawer.
It's the first thing you have to do.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the most simple thing you have to do.
And I thought on their best drive, I know they scored on that one early, on their best drive that they did it back to back.
Well, you tried to lose the Iron Bowl doing it.
Yeah.
You really tried to lose the Iron Bowl and go back to Texas. Go back to Texas, too.
The first touchdown of the year against MTSU was a snap over Milroe's head, and he ran around everybody for like a 39-yard touchdown.
That's right. That's why I put the Denard Robinson clip. When Denard fumbled his first snap and ran the touchdown, they were like,
how can we not? How can Bama not? We're not snapping the ball now? Out of all the things with Nick Saban's.
It's just things we're not used to seeing, like penalties, bad snaps. Like, I can't tell you the last time I saw Nick Saban in a huge game be up 7 on the last drive and lose the game.
I blame Matt.
I think that's the toughest pill to swallow out of that is because I think that he set the standard so high for what he's going to be held to. And Michigan's a really, really good football team. That's why it's been comical to watch like some of these ridiculous responses from like Florida State fans, Georgia fans, like somehow like dogging Bama. Like he just lost to Bama a month ago, by the way. So them losing to Michigan, like. I don't know the last time I've seen people discount losing to the number 1 team that was like you were an underdog to that's lost 3 games in 3 years and you lost them in overtime. But still, the defense is what even this year you could have counted on the most. And dude, that stat, man, when you have 12 plays for 24 yards total in the third quarter and fourth quarter, and then the last 10 plays of the game go for 100 yards, 10 yards per play. You have to give credit to Michigan, but that is a different Bama team than I'm used to seeing.
It's just a crazy sport. It's a crazy sport. It's been a crazy year. Let's get to the Booster Club here for Chris for a second.
Oh, yeah, Chris, we got a question here. I have to go back and find the name, but give us your thoughts on the Washington-Michigan game. What the keys are you looking for, and who do you think pulls it out?
I mean, I think it should be a fun game. Again, not to keep harping on the same thing over and over, I really was, wildly impressed with both. I think Washington's got a little bit of that TCU from 2022 in them, where no matter what they did all year, which was just win every single game, but they didn't win convincingly enough for the committee or for other fans. People didn't give them probably the credit they deserved for a lot of the year. I mean, all that team does is show up each week and get dismissed or overlooked or said they're going to be the underdog. They were a 10-point underdog to Oregon after beating them.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be 2 really, really good games or really good teams with a chip on their shoulder. And also Harbaugh obviously is a great coach. Caleb DeBoer, I think people are starting to realize that dude just wins games at any level.
Did you see his record? As a head coach, it's what from NAIA all the way. It's 145-11.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Top 6.
He was at Southern Cove Methodist, School of the Mutant Gifted, and then he's
pretty solid that year.
They were pretty good this year. They had one kid with 8 eyes on his head.
Didn't talk about
yeah, and webbed feet. But no, then he goes to Fresno State balls. Now he goes to Washington balls. I mean, it's a DJ Khaled situation. All my man does is win.
All right, Chris, Eddie wants to know, Alabama's offense used to look just like Michigan's offense. Do you think this loss will refocus Saban on kind of making the offense what it used to be?
I think that the offensive stuff is a little bit overblown this year. I think one thing they did a really good job of this year was finally playing to the strengths of the talent they had around them. And that's something you didn't see the last 2 years. Bill O'Brien was he was going to run his offense. The A&M game where Miller had to start, it was very clear he did not cater anything to Milroe's play calling. I think that in moving forward, that's probably what they're going to continue to do. And also, like one thing that I think has also been overlooked is Tommy Rees catching all the heat. I think the offense, even though the numbers weren't nearly as great as they've been in the past, it's a first year guy in the SEC with a first year quarterback and a lot of young guys up front. I think they're going to be fine moving forward, going into year 2. But I don't know how hard nosed like early 2010s like run game it's going to be.
For Tommy Rees, people got to remember he's 14 years old. I think people forget that. But before I get to answer this question, I just had to say this. There was a point during the game where they showed J.J. McCarthy, and I firmly believe he's the same guy who played Rudy and the star from the Goonies. Like, go back and look at J.J. McCarthy. He's the kid from the Goonies. It's 100% him. But Bama tailored the offense around Jalen Milroe like week 8.
Yeah.
Like against LSU.
Yeah.
Remember, before the year, all we heard about, we talked about this, murder ball. Nick Saban's going back to the A.J. McCarron days, back to the Greg McElroy days, where Alabama's going to line up. They're bigger than every NFL offensive line's ever been of all time. They got 9 guys that weigh 735 pounds. Yeah, they're going to go back to, and we kept saying, I don't know how this fits Jalen Milroe. Mm-hmm. This was when people thought that maybe Ty Simpson could win the job, or that lacrosse player that came over from Notre Dame that somehow beat USF. But my whole thing where I would worry as an Alabama fan is that you didn't change the offense to put yourself in the best position until you played LSU, because your ass realized you may have to score 50 points to beat these cats at LSU with how good they were on offense, regardless of how good you were on defense, in this whole transition period where you're supposed to be going back to bully ball. So what do you do now? So now you got Jalen Milroe coming back. You were supposed to be building this thing to going back to murder ball. You know that's not going to work as well as the other way that you did it with Jalen Milroe, which was tailored more to his strength, the RPO, move in the pocket. So going into next year, with Jalen Milroe coming back, are you going to be a spread offense that is able to move the pocket, that does RPO, that does zone read, that does the quarterback design runs? Or are you going to be a 12 personnel offense, which that's what Alabama was the whole first half of the Michigan game?
Yeah, and if you're going to... Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to play bully ball like the question was, this would be the quarterback to do it with when you can run so much Q power, Q draw, quarterback designed run. Remember, the last 4 guys to line up under center for Alabama are not just playing on Sunday. Mm-hmm. They're all starting on Sunday, right? Like some of the best drop back passers that we've seen. So I don't know what the plan is moving forward here. I mean, Jalen Milroe ended up playing himself into number 6 on the Heisman race, something like that. Mm-hmm. But you're also bringing in the number 1 drop back passer, and you've recruited well at the position. You've stacked depth. I mean, what do you think is going to happen moving forward, Chris?
I think that the heat and like the scrutiny that Jalen Milroe is getting right now is so ridiculous and unfounded, in my opinion.
I agree.
He had a bad game against Michigan. Here's the thing, like because the majority of it is coming from SEC fans, right? And you brought up, like, they did struggle for like the first month, and they seemed like they couldn't get on the same page and what they wanted to do as an identity. And then against LSU, they finally started doing that. Who's to say it wasn't like a page out of like what Kirby's done the past couple of years when they had Monken, and which is, hey, we don't have to show anything yet because we can still win these games, because they did. They kept winning each week. And so I think the one thing that should be scary for everyone, you talk about how inefficient at times the offense was and how inconsistent, he was, the offensive line was. That was his first year as a starter. And in the SEC, we talk about all the time, beat our chest about it's the best conference in football. They went 9-0 in that conference. They didn't lose a game in that conference. They didn't lose to Ole Miss. They didn't lose to Tennessee. They didn't lose to Georgia. They didn't lose to LSU. So I think going into next year, you can look at that Michigan game, and I think a lot of people are going to hang their hat on that because it's the last game of the year, and it's person of the moment. There was a lot of improvement each week. It seemed like at that position at quarterback. I think Milroe's going to come back and be really, really good next year.
Oh, I think Jalen Milroe's going to be an excellent college quarterback. I want to make sure before we let you go, Chris, that I clarify. To me, bully ball and murder ball is a little bit different, I think, David, than maybe what you're thinking. To me, that is 12 personnel, 11 personnel, drop back passing game, more of a pro-style offense. I don't necessarily think of bully ball as Q power and stuff like that. Yeah. I think of that as more of spread. I mean, I've watched Cam Newton run Q power and Q counter in a spread offense, and you watch a bunch of these guys that can run that are more effective in spread. I think it can be both. But in my opinion, just for the audience out there, when I'm describing murder ball, I'm thinking Greg McElroy lines his ass up under center.
I know what you're thinking. But the fact you're saying it can be both, that's where I thought that we would see the sort of iteration move.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
What I'm saying is when you watch Tua play and Mac Jones play and Bryce Young play, and then you watch Jalen Moreau play, one of these guys is different. One of these guys has a different skill set. Only one of them can take off for 85 yards with his leg any given play.
Jalen Moreau,
you could incorporate that into having running backs like Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram still, and then he's a part of that package, which they didn't get to till later in the season. And I know what you're talking about, not showing too much throughout the year. That's all well and good if you remain unbeaten. But they lost to Texas. His turnovers is what led to him losing to Texas. And then he was benched for that. After that is where I saw the most growth from him, which was the most impressive. And look, we can talk about the Michigan game. Like you said, Michigan's up front was really, really good. I mean, Jalen Moreau's going to...
There was two elite teams that came down to three plays.
And that's one of the things, too, I think, like, not to beat it at horse. I know I've been overly complimentary about Michigan, but if you look at their defensive statistics, I remember making a graphic about this for SDS, like, early December. And I was like, I'm going to do a quick deep dive and see what this team's all about. They're ranked in the top 5 nationally in like 20 to 25, like different statistics. It's
NFL
a really
players.
Good defense. I will also say, I don't care what they call it next year. I'd prefer, honestly, going into the offseason, maybe as you know, Bama fans, we stay away from the word murder this offseason. That'd be great. Then also, you can call it whatever you want, but maybe just don't give up 49 sacks with that offensive line ranking 100.
That's the craziest.
Meanwhile,
penalties.
Washington has given up 11. Michael Penix Jr. I heard a stat today that Michael Penix Jr. was sacked less in his career. This is going back to Indiana. This is how well he moves in the pocket, which was what Blaine was talking to. Was sacked less in his career than Caleb Williams was sacked this season. Now, you have to go fact check that, but that's a stat that I heard this morning.
He's been in college for like 11 years, so that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, him and Bo Nix could both run for office. But, Chris, speaking about a guy that should run for office, we appreciate you, buddy. Tell everybody where they can find your outstanding work. Really appreciate you coming on. As usual, first guest of 2024. How about that? You love to see it.
You got to sing the victors next time in a Michigan hat.
I got you. I'll get on Amazon today and get one. Yeah, but the Saturday Football Uncensored is a podcast. It's out today. You can find me there. Burn Funquist on Twitter and Instagram. If you really want to find me, you can find me on Twitter arguing with Georgia fans for the next 7 hours.
And Voltar. Yeah, definitely.
Georgia fans and Voltar.
And you can also find his address. No, I'm just kidding. Chris, we appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks man. See ya.
Chris Marler, one of the best in the business. All right, I do want to get to the Booster Club, and then we're going to get to calls. I know you're on the line. I want to get to you quickly.
Okay, let's go to Peyton 25 with a $5 donation. Peyton, thank you. Morning, man. Good morning to you, sir. Is Texas's season a failure now due to the way the Sugar Bowl ended?
No.
And will Texas be a top 3 SEC team going into 2024?
No, and listen, I know Texas, you want to win the national championship. You made the college football playoff. Sark is building it. This is not a failure, but one of the biggest things, right, is that you're returning a lot of those offensive linemen and your quarterback as you move into the SEC. Future looks bright at Texas. No, it's not a failure. It's another step to getting to the ultimate step.
Let's go to Kirby's Khakis. That's a great name. He says, typical Bama fan, Milroe is horrible, and anyone that thinks anything different has no clue what a good QB is.
I mean,
throughout the season or just in that game? Or
didn't specify, but I'm guessing throughout the season.
I don't know how you watch Jalen Milroe throughout the season and think he's horrible. You may not think he's elite.
I was surprised to see him number 6 on the Heisman. I was more surprised to see him saying that he thought he should be given the Heisman Trophy after the comeback win against Auburn. That's what I was.
Well, I wonder, was anybody smiling harder than Bill O'Brien after the?
I'll tell you don't see it too often, though.
Game?
When a quarterback, a young quarterback, gets a start in a primetime game like Texas, turns the football over twice, you end up losing that, you're benched the next week, the team struggles to play against South Florida, the team realizes that you're the best player for the position, you start again, and to have growth every single week and then win every game in your conference and beat the back-to-back defending champion. You don't see that often. So for that, you have to give him props. Are we saying there's a lot of room for improvement? Certainly. I thought there was a lot of room for improvement even for Bryce Young pushing the pocket, and that was after he even won a Heisman Trophy. So all of these guys can get better.
Yeah, I'm not shocked to see, and we appreciate you watching, my friend, the handle Kirby's Khakis. I think that Jalen Monroe's horrible. I don't think Jalen Monroe's the best quarterback, but I don't think he's horrible.
But yeah, Kirby's khakis, they got
There's
a good one. They got a good one in Athens.
There's a lot where I'd take him over Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, I bet.
Promise you
I
that.
bet you would.
Started. Now let's go to Steven. He says Tommy Rees is now 1-4 against Michigan and 1-3 at Notre Dame. Is this a Tommy Rees thing?
Nah, Bama fixes all that. I know they just lost to Michigan, but like that, you go to Bama and it's just, no, I'm not buying it.
It gets fixed.
Yeah. It's you can make Butch Jones look smart again. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Trey. What's up, brother? He says, all I'm saying is UGA fans don't know how to handle success. A lot of UGA Bama hate today.
Really?
Quit barking at little kids and pregnant women. Perhaps the rest of the world will semi-respect you.
Wow. Harsh words. All right, one more. We'll get to calls.
All right, let's go to King Don. He's been asking all day, a little off topic, but I'm definitely going to get to it. Hashtag Guys Crane & Co. How can the Packers defense get better, and why is it from firing Joe Barry?
I don't think the Packers, I like Rashawn Gary. I know Jair Alexander's been hurt, a lot of the year. I just don't think they have great personnel on defense. I mean, Van Ness, the guy you drafted at Iowa, he's nice, right? I just don't think they have a ton of elite guys defensively. They've been beat up too, as well the whole year. So, you are coming off that big win over the Vikings, which I know the Vikings offensively aren't exactly the Globetrotters, but
They won 5 of their last 7.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be way worse, right? I mean, Eagles just lost to the Cardinals. How do you think they're feeling?
They won 5 of their last 7. They're 8-8 right now. They're second in the NFC North, and that's with Jordan Love's first year starting.
Yeah. I mean, look at again this year in the NFL. Who the hell knows? Outside of the Ravens right now, and I guess the Niners. Who do you really trust? Right?
That's true.
Who do you really trust? All right, let's get to calls.
All right, let's go to calls here. We got a Pongo alert from Chase yesterday in California. Chase, what do you have to say about the Auburn Tigers?
What's going on, boys? Good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
I was thinking about it this weekend, like watching the Texas game, and you guys know me, I'm an Oklahoma fan, so I may be out of my realm here, so I'll go to the 2 resident Auburn experts, but I feel like in Texas, there's a real Dylan Gabriel situation going on over there.
Like how so?
As far as having the next guy in the wings and the clock's kind of ticking on when we get him in there. And now the guy that we expected to probably be gone by now, because let's be honest, I think a lot of Texas fans and college football fans thought Ewers was going to be gone before the season started. To me, it just feels like there's a real, like I said, Dylan Gabriel situation in the sense that, and I don't know for sure, but I would assume Texas, wants to get Arch Manning in there, but now a whole nother year with Quinn, I think you guys could be in the running for Quinn. Maybe not right now. I know it sounds crazy to say right now, but if he does hit the portal, I don't know. I feel like I could be on to something with this one. I don't know.
Look,
I have just a weird feeling about it.
I was a good boy in 2023, but I wasn't that good of a boy. Here's what
I saw Blaze tweet this morning about Salter, which obviously would be huge.
Yeah,
too.
he fits what Hugh Freeze wants to do, obviously, systemically. Here's what I'll say. I think Sark and them are ecstatic about Quinn Ewers coming back. I think they're over the moon. I think it's best case scenario. I think we are looking at Arch Manning the way we look at a lot of other high-ranked prospects and high-level prospects in society and what we live now in the 2024 NIL and transfer portal era. I think we're looking at him differently. I think he's a throwback. I think he's old school. I think the Mannings realize that Arch is not ready. Go back and watch Arch in the spring, right? Go back and watch a little bit of his tape this year. He's not ready yet, right? I don't think a redshirt freshman year for Arch Manning, because here's the way I look at it. Arch redshirted this year, right? House money, get a little bit of experience. Instead of next year going into the SEC with little experience as the starting quarterback at Texas with that schedule with a team that just went to the playoff and would have had a quarterback drafted in Quinn Ewers if it all worked out. I don't think that's as good of a situation as Arch Manning going into his redshirt sophomore year as the starting quarterback at Texas after going through the SEC one year, being draft eligible after that first year of being the starter. I think the Mannings look at that and say, you know what? even though Peyton played as a freshman, even though Eli played as a freshman, in today's game, in the way it's set up for Arch, the best thing may be for him to wait and then take over for Quinn. I think this is setting up to be the perfect scenario for not only Steve Sarkisian, but Arch Manning as well. The only person that's not a perfect scenario for is Quinn Ewers, because his ass thought he'd be going to the NFL by now if it all worked out. That's
I do think, Quinn would go to the draft before he transfers anywhere, correct?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
that's what I thought about Gabriel, though, too. That's why my mind instantly went to maybe like, but again, if Jake's right, and he could be completely right here. If Arch is an old school guy, then there's obviously not going to be any like pressure or reason per se for Ewers to hit the portal.
I mean, I think the Gabriel situation was more of a Jeff Lebby thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Give me another logical explanation on why Dylan Gabriel would have left Oklahoma.
I just thought my thing with Dylan Gabriel was I thought that, his draft stock probably wasn't going to get any higher. So I figured if he did come back, he was going to come back and play for a national championship. I kind of stopped thinking it was about Levy and more just about like his.
Well, you could do that at Oklahoma.
Knowing where his ceiling is in the draft and saying, okay, well, I want to try and win a national championship before I leave.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that at Oklahoma.
I figured if it was all about Jeff Lebby, he would have went right to Mississippi State.
Well, I think Jeff Lebby, it could have been, it couldn't be the only reason, but it could be a big one, right? Typically, there's multiple reasons for it. I think the
I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I was just.
Chase, it's an interesting debate.
And I do think if you're Dylan Gabriel, going to Oregon is going to raise your draft capital. It's going to raise your draft stock. I mean, going into the Pac-12, and I know the Pac-12, what'll be left of it, was pretty good this year. But I feel like you have a better chance of success at Oregon, what they're establishing, than walking in with an Oklahoma school with their first year in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, that could factor into it too.
Appreciate it, Chase.
Great call, man.
All right, let's go to Jalen in Georgia. Jalen, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing all right. Just got off work. Just finished a workout, and
nice.
Once I get off this call, I'm gonna hit the sauna. But
I love it.
Just want to
sweat out the demons.
Yeah, got to. Just want to react to the game because I wasn't able to call in yesterday. Like I said, I was going to. But David, congrats to you, Wolverines, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Y'all did everything y'all were supposed to do in that game. Y'all capitalized on opportunities. JJ McCarthy, he did what he was supposed to do and made plays, and Blake Corum stepped up. I was going into that game, I was kind of nervous because here's the reason why. I'm sports superstitious down to a T. Because growing up, I used to watch baseball, and when it comes to like the game of baseball, you'll see guys that like get on a hot streak or that are really good. You'll try to see their routine. Routine was always key with me growing up. Every Saturday, I would go to a college football game, and after that, I'll go to Applebee's, and then I'll go like to Walmart just to walk around, window shop, but basically kind of away.
Yeah, Jalen, we'd have got along real well.
Yeah. That's basically what I do. I was always in a routine set, and some people say change it up, so I do something different. But I'm a big believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure.
There's an interesting stat, and people can laugh. I don't really care. Jalen Milroe, when at the beginning of the season, first 6 games, he had 11 touchdowns. Then he had turnovers. Of course, he got benched. Lost to Texas, got benched, USF, yada yada yada. Then when he went on that streak, it wasn't Ole Miss even after we won that game. It really started, to me, around Mississippi State and Starkville.
The get me over game.
Here's what the difference. Here's the difference, though. When he put on that leg sleeve and when he put on that arm sleeve, there was a different Jalen Milroe. Let's go to basketball. Remember, Hoodie Melo, Untucked Kyrie, Mass LeBron. A lot of people joke about that. No, there's some type of like placebo effect with that.
Man, I'm with you.
Gets them in a different zone.
I'm with you, Jalen.
And when I saw Jalen Milroe without that sleeve, I kept asking, Where's the sleeve at? Because I'm afraid we're going to see the same Jalen Milroe that we saw at the beginning of the season. And it came to fruition. Look at the Georgia game. He had the sleeve on. Look at the LSU game. Had the sleeve on. Tennessee, sleeve on. He had the swag. You saw a different Jalen Milroe swagger of it. Let's go back to when RG3 won the Heisman. He talked about his style of play, what got him going, whether it was the socks, but he had one side that was fashion, the other side was business. And that's what kept his mojo going.
I'll give you another one, Jalen. I'll give you another one. Denard Robinson.
Exactly.
Shoelace.
And think about, and I looked up this stat. First 6 games, he had 11 touchdowns without the arm sleeve. The next 2 games after that, when he got the arm sleeve, he had 10.
Man,
wow, that's a
look. You can't, like we say, facts don't care about your feelings.
Mess with
I'll give you another
routine.
one. It's not an individual, but the turnover chain. Like the first team that started the turnover chain, they started getting a whole hell of a lot more turnovers. I'm telling you, we always talk about you got to look good to play good. You got to look good to play good. You got to feel good to play good. And half of feeling good is looking good and making sure you had everything right. I know guys that couldn't go out there and play basketball without the shooting sleeve on their shooting arm because they felt like it made them shoot better. Like, it's a mindset thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Mike. Little Bow Wow. That's right. Put the shoes on and get your groove on.
Yeah. But anyway, outside of that, I believe Milroe's going to be fine. I'm not surprised at all the hate that Bama fans have gotten, whether it's Milroe, whether it's Seth McLaughlin, whether it's anywhere, because people hate Bama. We've been successful for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, like my timeline's full of Georgia fans, FSU fans, that other school in Alabama. I'm not even worried about that. As long as we got Nick Saban, we're going to be fine. The recruiting class is good. We're still going to be top tiers. We're going to be active in the transfer portal. I know we got a couple. We know we got chance, like a couple of guys that might be deciding to go into the draft, go into the transfer portal. Like, I'm not worried about that. We're going to be fine. My only concern is Milroe has to continue to improve and get better. He's got to be on a Jalen Hurts type of improvement with his game at that position. You have to get better as a passer because when you watch him play, when he drops back, you can see he's only looking one side. He's not looking the full field. Most of the time, it's like you make 1 or 2 reads and then you're gone. He's got to take that next step and he's got to have confidence with it. He'll throw the short pass, but he's got to get accurate at that. He can throw the deep pass that's already there, but the mid-range passes and throwing guys open, that's the next step that he's got to be able to take, not only to be a much better college quarterback, to even give yourself a fighting chance of being an NFL-type close quarterback, if that's the route that he wants to go. And Tommy Rees, he's got to improve and better. He's got to get better. And y'all were mentioning as far as like the bully ball style of type and play that Bama might go into next year. I think Tommy Rees needs to take a book out of Kyle Shanahan in the way he runs the San Francisco 49ers.
I like that. I like that, Jalen.
Remember that third down run from Jan Miller in that third quarter where they were in shotgun, but he spun around where Jan Miller was coming behind Jalen Milroe. That's some stuff that
that orbit motion
was doing. That's what Mike McDaniels did with the Miami Dolphins this year, and they've done that a ton. So that could possibly work in some ways. But Reese has got to improve. Milroe's got to improve. And I'm not worried about the defense. The offensive line, everything's going to flow together once the offensive coordinator and the coaches get right.
Appreciate it, Jalen.
They improve. So outside of that, we're good.
Thank you,
hey, Jalen, we appreciate you, buddy. I mean, you're right on the money.
Yeah, I love it, man. Call in again next week, man. All right, we got 2 Steves on the line. Let's go to Steve in Michigan. How you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Steve, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
I was going to say Happy New Year, ladies, that since I've watched it 3 times. Oh,
yeah, good.
Thank you.
Just winners or just losers who win.
That's right. So, David, when are you going to fix that corner there off to your right? It's a little too red for me. Just a observation. I missed the first part of the Rose Bowl game. I heard there was like an interception that got called in Michigan's favor. What was your take on that?
Oh, well, thanks for tuning in. Maybe you're the thing that got the mojo going.
Well, it's pretty simple. So just like an offensive player can't go out of bounds on his own free will, then come back in and be the first to touch it unless he establishes himself back in the field of play. Defensive player can't do that either. So basically what happened, Caleb Downs, who was the was sinking on the play, stepped out of bounds with his back heel, barely out of bounds, and then didn't reestablish himself back in bounds. He basically jumped from out of bounds, inbounds to intercept it, landed in bounds. It was a completed interception, but since he was previously out of bounds under his own volition, then came back in and didn't reestablish himself, it was an illegal touching, which didn't result in a penalty, resulted just in an incompletion. To me, if it's going to be a penalty for the offense to do it, it should be a 5-yard penalty for the defense.
Yeah, here's all you need to know, man. It was a terrible play all the way around by J.J. McCarthy. First of all, you missed the wide-open receiver. Like Jake says, the first play of the game, you know you've scripted that. You didn't even hit the guy, and it was the first read. It's not like something backside you had to work to.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy was open way down the field, but he's the fourth read in your progression. No, it's what we called Florida. He's the first guy you're reading. You didn't throw it to him when he was open. Then you panicked and threw an interception. You really got away with one, and we said, talk about a mulligan. That's a mulligan.
I will say it's a lot harder as a quarterback when you do throw a pass and a guy comes from out of bounds.
Yeah, but his heel was like on the line by an inch. I'm surprised they caught it. It's not like he was infiltrated over.
White.
Yeah, he didn't come down for buying a hot dog.
Yeah.
Like J.J. McCarthy did everything you possibly could do wrong on that play.
He just wanted to get it out.
Like whatever Jim Harbaugh told him to do, he did the exact
Talk about not wearing a sleeve.
Yeah, I just wish I could have been in the film room after, you know you won the game the next day, you're watching the tape. Like, I just wonder if Jim Harbaugh just was like, JJ, I don't understand like why you would do this.
Oh, but hey, got away with it. You got away with
Right. Now, I did catch probably about the first 3 quarters of the next game, the Texas-Washington game, and are both defenses as bad as they looked? Because there was a lot of running on both sides. I was really amazed considering how Michigan and Alabama's defense are pretty hard to get through when it comes to running, as it was in the last play of the Rose Bowl game.
Well, to be honest with you, I would take both those offenses over both the offenses that were playing in the Rose Bowl, in my opinion, in totality. I don't think Washington or Texas is elite defensively. I think Texas made a big jump this year on defense. I thought the way they played toward the end of the year in the back end, they kind of fixed some things. But make no mistake, I don't think anybody's stopping Washington consistently. Like, I just don't think with Penix and Rome and Polk and McMillan, what they've been able to do in the run game, the offensive line winning the Joe Moore Award, they can affect you in the seam too. I just don't think you can consistently stop Washington. And then Texas, I mean, hell, you gave Sark a month to prepare with a quarterback in Quinn Ewers, Adonai Mitchell, who just balls in the playoffs, Xavier Worthy. I think it was more about the talent offensively than it was the deficiencies on defense.
Okay, all right. Now, I don't want to get too much into all of your guys' predictions for next week, but David, so how do you feel about Michigan coming up?
Go win it all. I mean, what, you came this far to losing the championship? No, go win the whole thing.
Yeah, I got a good feeling David's not picking Washington in this.
No.
Yeah,
I picked them all the way up to this point. I did pick them all the way to this point, and even they've surpassed me.
They're my preseason team to win it. Actually,
they definitely weren't mine.
I actually had Michigan, Texas in the Natty. So it was
you were almost there.
I actually had Michigan.
Yeah, I forgot what all your guys.
Oh, you did? Wow. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Well, Blaine said he had Michigan, Washington. So give him the trophy now. He always seems to get that trophy at the end. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, man. All right, let's go to Steve in Ohio quickly. Steve, how you doing, man?
I got out.
Hey, Steve.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, bro.
You.
Hey, with this national championship game coming up, you know there's going to be an in-conference rematch next year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Washington coming into the conference.
Could have been for Texas, too.
October 5th, Michigan travels to Washington.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
God, y'all got Washington and Texas next year?
Yeah.
And USC, I think.
Better win it. I'm starting to
those old Buckeyes.
Maybe J.J. McCarthy shouldn't come back.
Yeah, just after y'all win this, Harbaugh's just going to be peace.
Yeah,
I coach the Chargers now.
Yeah. It's gone.
The Chargers schedule's easier.
Yeah, it's gone, girl. Then I show up 6 months later.
Well, you better win it now.
I got kidnapped by the Chargers.
Yeah.
I want to clarify my chat from yesterday where I talked about rooting for your rival.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's my take on it. like with Ohio State and Michigan, Ohio State always wants Michigan to be good or come into the game undefeated.
See, I don't get that.
It makes
I don't understand
the victory
that.
over them that much better.
Yeah, I used to talk about this with Kirk Herbstreit when we worked together for some of the Coca-Cola commercials, and he said, "Look," and this was at a time when y'all had beaten us, I think 6 years in a row, something like that. It's like, yeah, of course we want that rivalry to remain the best rivalry in sports. You can only do that if both teams are good, right? I mean, it just makes.
Well,
sense.
I feel like the team that says that is the team that's won like 16 of those.
See, I just see like
I don't believe in that. Like, I want y'all's has to be 0-11 every year.
Steve, I want it to be
a disaster.
I think you feel different, right? If you watch them win 6 national championships in like 9 years, right? I want Alabama to be terrible at everything. At everything. I don't care.
I mean, if you're going to be honest, like if we're going to be like, you put the fandom in it, not when you're analyzing. We don't bring the fandom in when we analyze, but like, if we're going to say, I never want my rival to be good. Like, I want our show to be, I want the other shows to suck. Not at the like other sports shows. I want them to be terrible. I want our rival show to be terrible. I don't want our rival to be good. I don't want you to be able to go in any living room and be like, you need to come play for us here because we're doing really good. And yeah, it's number 1 versus number 2. No. I want it to be number 1 versus number 2,000. I want you guys to just quit hoping. I want it to be off. I'm talking about like Rust. Like, what's that game where it's like the nuclear fallout? What's it called? Where it's just, I want it to be like Book of Eli. Yeah. Like you're having a pop up at a
I just want to know what it feels like to walk into the Iron Bowl and just be like, you know what? We're going to win this game.
We're going to win.
I get what you're saying, though, Steve.
4th and goal from the 31. We got it.
I get what you're saying, especially like leading up to the game. But after the game, how was it with you pulling for Michigan to beat Alabama?
Oh, it was. There was no other choice for me because if I put the two on a pedestal, I got Michigan higher up because Alabama,
second best rivalry.
It's like in my.
Well, you should go on Buckeye Twitter and talk to some of them because man, I was getting hate.
Somebody go give Steve the greatest guy of the year award.
It's like Shane Gillis when he's talking about the white guys in the NFL. It's like really catch a pass. It's like go.
Like
they got him.
They got him.
They always get him.
If your rival is not that good, then is it really a rivalry?
Yeah.
Yes.
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It was funny to me to see the former Buckeyes assistant coach, what was his name, Zach Smith. He put a two-leg parlay. He took Alabama and he took the Buckeyes in the bowl game. And I'm like, man, if it weren't for you, Urban Meyer might still be in Columbus. And the whole landscape of college football might be different.
Well, it's like to me, Steve, I just don't know how many Alabama fans are like, damn it, Auburn lost to New Mexico State.
Yeah. So, Auburn went 7-5 this year. I'm pissed.
Oh man, God, I wish they were 9-2. 9-3. But Steve, we appreciate you, man. Hey, the bingo card's awesome too. By the way,
yeah, that's cool, man. Thanks for doing that.
You guys taking my call just gave us a double bingo. If you're,
let's go,
baby.
Go.
What else do you need? I'll do it. I'll do it now.
That's
what
exactly
else do you need?
right.
Let's go Huskies,
Stevie. He said, let's go Huskies.
Let's go Huskies. Thanks, Steve. I'm going to go over the bets.
All right, Josh, call in tomorrow.
Oh, Baltar. We should have brought Baltar in here when Chris was on.
That's tough.
That just to surprise Chris, be like, that would, I don't know how that.
We should have had like Baltar on camera.
Wait, Chris so they've been
like behind. We should have flown Baltar to like where Chris lives. And like during the interview, like
they were beefing. Look, Baltar went after him hard.
Oh, dude, it got like personal.
It was one of those things where I was even scrolling. Like
it devolved into like how you look and like your deficiencies as a.
Those are always the best,
without a doubt. All right, gonna get to bets, guys. Plus 3 units on the month together. All right, which when you have 5 guys betting. Speaking of 5 guys, man, some Cajun fries sounds good.
No, we're on the carnivore diet.
I know we're on carnivore.
Did we stick to carnivore?
I did.
We stuck to carnivore.
Steak and eggs last night.
It's hard.
Chicken.
Hey.
Steak and eggs for me last night.
Wait, what?
Popcorn
Technically,
chicken?
you're not supposed to have anything breaded.
Can't have anything fried, genius.
Well, I saw one carnivore diet that said fried chicken could be a snack.
Yeah, I mean, technically, let's be honest.
Hey, what's the rule? What's the rule on peanuts?
No.
Get out.
No. Actually,
you can eat eggs.
I read 3 different lists yesterday that said any of the nut products, peanuts, cashews, any of that is like.
What about these?
High in the carbs.
Blaine had chips this morning.
I'm not apologizing.
Yeah, Blaine was eating.
Oh, no.
Blaine was eating jalapeno chips
so hungry.
at 6 in the
You're
morning.
not following the
You want to talk about the fattest thing that's ever
Send
happened?
him any meat.
The fattest thing that's ever happened?
forgot.
I heard Blaine crunching
forgot.
just like a homeless person that found some old bread during World War I.
I walked
Weird
by
night
the
for your
chocolate
boy.
chip cookies last night in the house 25 different times and didn't get one just for you to eat chips.
It was
this
a weird
morning.
night for your boy last night. It was just.
I had some pulled pork.
There you go.
It's good.
That's solid.
Good. All right, 1-1 yesterday in college hoops. Give me Miami Clemson over 155 and a half tonight.
I like that.
I think a lot of offense. I mean, Miami defensively, just like they were against the Ravens the other night, is pathetic. I hope it continues. Then give me Virginia minus 14.5 at home against Louisville, which, I mean, Kenny, I'm going to bring pain to the whole administration and Louisville basketball program. I don't know why I'm walking over here. Give me Virginia minus 14.5. All right,
I like that on the Miami over. I'm going to go ahead and take Miami money line plus 100. Should be a good one against Clemson. And then how about Providence minus 7.5, minus 110. But what would I know? Auburn didn't cover for me.
Yeah, I was say 2-0 yesterday. Pin. That way, fellas.
So you're happy about that?
I'm that I covered. I'm ecstatic.
Oh, 1 by 20 cover?
Dude, I'm ecstatic. I also hit a 10-leg parlay.
Yeah, I hit a 17
yesterday, boys.
That's
me
true.
about 3 stacks. Went with the favorites, which I think you did as well. Let's keep the momentum going. Going a little NBA here. Gonna expand the bet and give me the Heat plus 6.5 on the road versus the Lakers. I do think they cover. The Heat are starting to get healthy. Give me Grizzly money line at home. That's going off of minus 112. Let's really think Ja Morant can shoot his shot today in this game.
Give me some Grizzly wintergreen. Anyway, Ace, he's going to take the Caps, no cap in. That's money line at plus 136. And then the Leafs, the fighting Kirks from Canada. What's the situation with the Flyers right now? Yeah, let's dive in.
Let me look at the Flyers today.
Yeah, how's that? Was it 12.5 games?
If I can pull up ESPN.
12.5.
It's 12.5. Kirky's not feeling great about it. I haven't heard him from a.
If they have to send down one of those raccoon pelts that you pay with up in Canada.
I mean, we're 19-13 right now.
What are the Leafs?
The Leafs are scanning. The Leafs are 18-10.
Outstanding.
Beautiful.
Outstanding work.
Beautiful.
I'll have to hear
the
it.
donos.
All right, let's go to Lando 101 with a $5 donation. Lando, appreciate it. How much of LSU's success was Jaden Daniels or Mike Denbrock, and was the hire of him at Notre Dame a good move? And is Freeman the right guy for us?
I think Mike Denbrock's a really good offensive coordinator. I think you look a whole hell of a lot smarter when you have Jaden Daniels. If you're asking me the percentage of how much of this offensive explosion was Jaden Daniels and the offensive coordinator, I would say about 70% of it. The other 30% was a mixture of the offensive line, the wide receivers, and a little bit of the running backs. I put the tight ends in that group. It's a lot. I mean, LSU's going to have to play complementary football better next year to have a chance to win the games they won this year because, I mean, Jaden Daniels is the Heisman winner.
Agreed.
I mean,
let's go to Sorrel Goolsby with a $5 donation. Mr. Goolsby says, was Georgia a top 4 team this year?
Man, I think so.
I think
so. They're so good. Nobody would want to play them.
If we're talking about overall full breadth, talent, coaching staff, yes, I think so.
Let's go to another one from Sorrel Goolsby with a $5 donation. Chris is upset UGA fans discredited their head-to-head against Bama, while Bama fans discredited their head-to-head against Texas. It's funny. It's Bama fans.
It's all propaganda about who you root for. Like, let's be honest. I mean, fan is short for fanatical for a reason, right? You are going to take the lens that is going to behoove whoever you root for the most. It's been that way. It's always going to be that way. That's one of the greatest parts about sports.
Let's go to Major Moose Knuckles with a $2 donation. He says, Elon McGuire Cone. He says, go Army and go big.
First, I have to have a Major League Baseball player's name. Now I have to look like a Major League Baseball
God,
player.
people comparing you to Mark McGuire and Elon Musk must be tough, Dave.
Yeah.
That's like rooting
Can I be me?
That's like rooting for Alabama. Hey, that's like rooting for Alabama and Michigan.
Wow, you're the richest guy in the world that hits the furthest home run.
Sucks.
Yeah.
People say I look like John Kerry.
Yesterday,
he's really winning.
Yeah, okay, well, you say that until you get a Twitter message from someone that says, you look like Elon Musk with Down syndrome.
Which is basically like you're still smarter than
Elon Dusk?
Yes.
You mean Elon
Musk is what they call me.
All right, let's go to Q Smo Jimbo with a $5 donation. Happy New Year's, fellas. Okay. Don't pour over me, Justine. Can I read this? Happy New Year's Time for Blaine to read some hockey names.
Yes.
Here we go. David Reinbecker.
That sounded right.
That felt right.
You feel good about that one.
Dmitry Simajev.
Nope.
No
good. Chance.
Simajev. That might be right. Axel Sandin.
Okay.
Palika Gabriel. I'm on it. Ooh. Perrialt.
No chance.
Mikhail Galayev. I don't know. All right, let's get to the poll. I'm getting yelled at. All right, is Jimmy Kimmel on the Epstein's list?
No, we're not that lucky. We're not that lucky.
94%.
Oh, they probably said yes, 60%.
Yes, 85%. No.
That's absolutely hilarious.
We're not that lucky.
All right, if you're on Rumble, hey, what's up? We appreciate you guys joining us, too. Make sure you subscribe. Grab some of that merch. One of those hoodies. They're fantastic. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Got a great show for you tomorrow. Excited to talk to Chris Marler again today after the new year. Enjoy the college hoops tonight, NBA, whatever you're watching, NHL, and like the chances of Jimmy Kimmel just not being a super douche. We're going.
Hey.
I'll tell you what. Gone.